All right, so everyone out there listening today, we have Emily Boyle here with us, and she's going to tell us all about her journey with cancer, right, Emily?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, well, why don't you start off and tell us a little bit about you? Who is Emily?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Emily. I am a mom to a little boy. He's 3 years old. I am a registered nurse. I have 6.5 years being an L&D nurse, and I am also recently a holistic health coach. So I work with women and I focus in on helping them establish the support and nourishment that they need to feel whole and good about themselves.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. So, are you still a practicing nurse, or you don't do nursing anymore?
I took a pause on my nursing. I stopped when I delivered my son. And then when I was 15 months postpartum, that's when I got diagnosed with breast cancer. And I just had not gone back since then because of everything that was entailed with that.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us a little bit about that. So you were very young when you got diagnosed with breast cancer, right?
Yeah. So I was 28 years old. I was 15 months postpartum, and I discovered a lump in my right breast. I was breastfeeding my son during this time, and I was always like very like I guess you could say like diligent when it comes to like touching and feeling my breast because of the breastfeeding. I had struggled a lot with clogged ducts. I never experienced mastitis, but one day I just so happened to feel a lump in my breast, and initially, I was like, "Okay, maybe this is a clogged duct, like, let's just, like, kind of feel it out," because I had those in the past,
Hmm.
but none of the signs and symptoms were presenting as it being a clogged duct. At that point, I, reached out to my OBGYN. I made an appointment. I was seen there. I said, "I think I have, a clogged duct, but I don't think that's what it's going on. I just know that I have this hard lump in my breast. Not painful. It's just small, pea size, very hard lump."
Hmm.
Um, so from that point, I remember very clearly the midwife was like, "Well, let me give you an antibiotic because this could be mastitis." And I was like, "I don't think so." I said, "I've had
Mm.
clogged up during my pregnancy. None of it was like presenting, and I wasn't having any symptoms of what you experience when you have a clogged
Right.
duct." So I pushed and asked, I'd really feel comfortable if I could get an ultrasound. So we had an ultrasound done. One thing led to the other where they were like, I want to do a biopsy. So we went down the ropes of doing a biopsy, having all the worries, the feels, the fears of what it could be during that time period. And yeah, on May 9th of 2022, I received the call that I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, this is so crazy. So, does it run in your family? Is there any history of it in your family, or
So on my mother's side, there was a strong history of breast cancer. However, what I have learned from working with my integrative oncologist is that only 5 to 10% of genetics only affects your chances of getting a cancer diagnosis. The remaining percentage is based upon your lifestyle. So
okay?
the toxins you're exposed to, the diet you consume, your mental health, so
Wow.
much that go on with that. Um, Given that I was such a young female who received a diagnosis, we did like a whole workup. So I found out that I did not carry any of the genes that would make me have breast cancer. It just so happened it was pure, I don't want to say bad, well, yeah, bad luck. It was just like
Right.
I got the short end of the stick and this is what it was. And I try to think of it in the view of maybe this was like a lesson for me to be learned. I mean, I've learned an immense amount about myself, about my
Mhm.
health. It's truly changed me as a person, and I'm continuing to learn from it. So maybe it was a learning experience that I had to walk through.
Yeah. I mean, did you feel like did they give you an answer of like why you got breast cancer, or there really is no answer? You said it was just bad luck, or
Yeah, so when I first received my diagnosis at that time, I was not working with an integrative team.
okay.
I knew deep down, like, I needed to find someone to work with. I could not settle with going through the standard care of process treatment. So initially, I worked with conventional oncology, and they just said it was purely like a bad luck type of thing,
Okay.
where I just so happened to get it, and the odds just were not in my favor.
Okay.
However, working with integrative and going down all of like the ropes of what they really truly look into,
Mm.
complete sense as to why. I mean, I was like silently walking to,
You
you
were
know,
what? I'm sorry, you broke up.
oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
I was like silent walking disaster. Like my body was screaming for help.
So, well, yeah, I guess that's my next question because you said it really depended on your lifestyle, right? So, what was your lifestyle like when this diagnosis came in?
Yeah, so I thought I lived like a very healthy lifestyle. I mean, I wouldn't say that it was really bad, but I lived it where I wasn't super diligent with my nutrition. I wasn't watching what I was eating. I ate what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Stress wise, it was not managed well. I
Mm-hmm.
was in a state of chronic stress frequently. Um, I have learned that like that is definitely a big driving force when it comes to disease.
Yeah.
Um, and then going into like gut health, like there were many signs that my gut was struggling greatly, but I ignored it because I
Yeah.
didn't. It was as if like it wasn't really bad, but yet I thought that was like my baseline norm when
Right.
really,
Right. Well, I mean, it's normal to our society, right? You know, a lot of gut issues or really like mild inflammation, stuff like that, that's considered normal, but it's a sign that something's not right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So what happens? So you get this diagnosis, so where do you go from there?
like a very honestly emotional roller coaster ride that is just full of a lot of highs and a lot of lows. When I received the diagnosis, everything moved very quickly. I received the diagnosis May 9th. From that point on, you go and meet with a ton of doctors. You then scope out what you want to do. So, in that moment, I felt very confident that I wanted the tumor removed. I know some people, when they go an integrative approach, they don't really want that. But for me, I wanted it removed. So, I started meeting with surgeons and I found one that I felt confident with and comfortable with because when you receive a diagnosis, you don't know anything. You just know that you have breast cancer. You don't
Right.
know the age of it, you don't know the grade of it. You literally don't know anything until you have your surgery.
Okay.
Because when you receive your surgery, that is then when the tumor is removed and they do further diagnostic testing to determine what grade you have, the severity of it, whether it entered into your lymphs or not. And
Okay.
so for a whole month, I was waiting to have my surgery. I had a surgery on June 9th and it was successful. However, not all of my margins got removed.
Okay.
Very, very fortunate though to find out that I caught it very early. I
Okay.
was 1A, grade 2.
Okay.
Um, what that means is it's based upon like your size and like if it entered your lymph nodes. So
Okay.
mine, my lymph nodes. So that was like a huge plus for me. However, it's does once you have cancer, you have to then your body can make it. So now you want to do everything any other form of cancer.
Right.
Okay.
Um, sorry, you broke up a little bit then. Can you repeat the last thing you just said?
When you receive a cancer diagnosis, you know your body can then um what is it? Like your body you know that your body can have a cancer diagnosis, so you want to then do everything you can to prevent like reoccurrence.
Okay. Now, what are you doing? So, since then have you had to have like chemo or any other surgeries or anything?
Yeah, so I had two surgeries. I had to go and get a second surgery done because my margins did not come back clean, meaning the tissue, they took out a certain portion. So I had a lumpectomy done,
Okay.
breast, and they took out the tumor. However, the margins surrounding that tissue were not clean. So they had to go back in and pretty much scrape out the tissue to ensure and hope that there was no cells within there.
Okay.
I had a total of the two surgeries. And then again, not having an integrative doctor at this time, I was still going basic standard of care. I continued the next step of the process, which in my case was radiation.
Okay.
So I went through 20 rounds of
Oh
radiation.
my God, Emily.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, I don't know what it would be. I was living in like a state at that time and just trying to get by minute.
Yeah. I mean, you're also a new mom during all of this, so there's a lot going on. Can't even imagine like the emotions you must have been feeling.
Yeah, it was hard. It was very hard.
So you went through the radiation, and did that kind of get rid of the rest of the cancer, or what happened from there?
So the radiation, when you receive a cancer diagnosis, one things that you hear about sometimes with integrative practitioners is you really want to address like the circulating tumor cells and the circulating stem cells, because that is where if you do not get rid of those, that's how those cells could then go implant somewhere within your body and create like the metastatic disease. So that's where it really opened the door for me, knowing that I need to find an integrative doctor,
Mm,
because I I wasn't happy with like settling with the standard approach. I
yeah.
needed more. And yeah, that's when I delved deep into finding an integrative.
Can you like so the difference between integrative and like regular care, so they kind of dig deeper into like the root cause of things or the root preventative measures? Is that kind of the difference between these two, or can you specify?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can't really speak on behalf of like the integrative providers, but from the one that I'm working with, they look at the whole body.
Okay.
And when body, like they're looking at your immune system, how like your physical immune system is responding to whether you have like co-infections. I mean, you name it. They look at
Mm,
the within your body. They're really addressing the internal terrain, because my one integrative doctor, she states if you aren't changing your internal terrain after you receive a diagnosis, like what good are you doing for your body?
okay. No, what have you done since then? Because again, we were talking like lifestyle, right? And that's what you do now. This kind of brought you into the coaching, lifestyle coaching. So, what changes did you make after your radiation and once you started working with this doctor?
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, after the radiation, they want you to go into the slope of taking hormone blocking medications for my specific breast cancer, because I had a hormone driven breast cancer. So we did the hormone blocking medications. However, I struggled greatly with them. I experienced a lot of side effects. So,
Mm,
working with my integrative team, I recently made the decision to come off of those medications. I have done a lot of detoxing, a lot.
okay. Did you
I
just
have,
recently do this or
did I recently come off the
like
hormone?
stop taking the medications or was this a while ago?
Yeah, I recently stopped in April.
Okay.
So, when you finish your radiation treatment, you are given like an 8-week grace period. And then once you hit that 8-week period, that's when you start the hormone blocking medications. And they want you to be on those medications for 5 to 10 years.
Oh my
In my,
gosh.
they wanted it for 10 years, given my age,
Okay.
because you have a young person receive cancer, especially given a hormone sensitive cancer. Hormone sensitive cancers are known to come back 15, 20 years from now. So, the goal of being on a hormone blocking medication is to put your body into a complete like menopausal state chemically with the medication.
Okay.
And that's very, very hard when you
Mm.
young girl who is having like um your hormones be at like its peak time right now, and then you go from like having them at the peak to depleting them to nothing. I mean, that I could get into
Oh
with
my
that
gosh. That's
nightmare.
craziness. Wow. So you came off of them though, because you didn't like them.
I did. I came off of them. My integrative team, they were okay with that. And what we've been doing with um, myself is, like I said, a lot of detox practices. I've been working on restoring my gut health because I had leaky gut and I had a lot of Candida and parasites.
Oh
We
wow.
were working on addressing my health because I had been living in such a chronic state of high stress. So that
Yeah.
was big component for me. We have been really just trying to work on like getting all of my drainage pathways up and working because I was struggling with like I was having like a stagnant lymphatic
What, repeat that? Sorry, you broke up, Emily.
a stagnant lymphatic system.
Okay.
So really just trying to build up my immune system so that
Yes.
I can
Yeah.
combat things.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a lot of people don't understand that the gut is connected to our immune system. It really relies on our having healthy gut for our immune system. So that is so, so important. I've had leaky gut before and it's horrible. I mean, obviously it never got to a cancer like state or something like that, but it's not fun. And I feel like a lot of us are walking around with it and we don't even know that we have it.
Yeah, absolutely.
How are you feeling now?
I feel much better, honestly. It took me a very long time to be able to be open about this, to be able to share my story. And I feel like I grieved a lot. And when I was going through my own processing and grievance, I was able to really just like hone into nurturing my inner self. And everything that I've been doing, I feel like has been extremely beneficial. And I overall feel really good physically. I feel good mentally. I feel very good. I feel like I'm in a great spot right now and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, how does this affect you as a mom? Like, how did it
Yeah,
affect your, early motherhood?
it was hard. I mean, when you're a brand new mom, that itself is hard. So then adding in this, it was an added layer. Honestly, like I really don't know how I survived. I think like what got me through was just like my son, just really trying to be strong for him,
Yeah,
and wanting to do everything I could in my power to show him that, well, he was little, but to really, in my heart, show him that I could do anything, and I would do anything to make it work.
yeah, yeah. That's so. You're giving me goosebumps. I mean, do you have a great support system around you? Like, does your husband, your family, everyone help support you?
Yeah, yep, they really have helped me a lot.
Now going forward, so now you're not on the hormone blocking medication. What happens from here?
Yeah, going forward, so I I really want to have another child. So I'm working with my integrative team and trying to prepare my body to conceive another child. And what that looks like is really just nourishing myself. I have, like I said, I've done a lot of work in regards to building up my immune system, working on fixing that internal terrain and helping to create like a flourishing state. So yeah, that's what we are currently working on right now and addressing. And to be quite frank, like I don't know, like it's a little scary, but I have a lot of trust in my integrative doctors and I feel confident moving forward with them in this direction.
That's great. I'm so excited for you. Now, how often do you have to go check in with your doctors like about the cancer?
Yeah, so I connected with them very frequently. Like I was doing like every 2 months and then every 3 months. But yeah, we're actually still on every 3 months. So every three
Okay.
months, then every month I go and I get a ton of lab work done. And then I go out to their facility in California once a year. And I do that so that I can maintain the establishment of being a patient virtually.
Oh, okay. So they're in California. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right, great. I mean, how do you feel day to day? Like, do you feel confident that you're going to be cancer free? Like, is it like a mindset that you have to have in it to be able to be confident moving forward?
Yeah, I think your mind plays a significant role in this and like from day one. Like you definitely I've read so many books where they talk about like having like this cancer mindset. Like you need to have like this perfect face. And I don't want to say like perfect is the great word because there's so many emotions that come up with this journey. And I think it's important to allow yourself to feel every feeling during it because it's something that's real and it's happening to you.
Mhm.
Um, I think what I have taken from this is that you have to allow like this process and this journey to be like a project that you're working on. Like you are working on trying to create the best version of yourself
Mhm.
possible. Looking into so many components of yourself from
Mhm.
many to ensure you get
Yeah, that sounds great. Now, within your coaching, do you have like a certain philosophy like for women that you work with, or is it kind of like all specialized to each person?
I would like to say that it's more tailored to each person because I feel we each have our own unique needs. And I think that's really important to focus in on because we're all different people. We all require different needs. And I think that when you are trying to like approach every person the same way, it may not work for one person as it does for the other.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Now, if you could give advice to people listening today, so I know we talked about, lifestyle and obviously that's what you work with now. Like what is the best way to start living healthier and to like create that healthy gut, to create that, healthy body that will flourish?
Yeah. I want to say I think the best thing for people to do is to just start. To start at something that they have been wanting to do and they just keep on like holding back for whatever reason that may be. And I think like you just need to allow yourself to do what makes you feel good inside
Mhm.
because is really what's most important. I mean, you just don't know what can happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think it's important that you just really start to show up for who you want to be. And yes, like the process is very overwhelming. It can be intimidating, but I think the biggest thing is to make one small step and just moving forward.
Right. Right. Just start taking care of yourself one step at a time. Yeah. I mean, in regards to people going through, bad diagnosis and, maybe being ill, like what would you recommend them to do? Because you said it was hard for you to talk about it at first, right? Did you feel isolated within that, or like what helped you in that time?
Um, I I don't want to say I felt isolated. It was more of I think it was just easier for me to be more closed off and process everything because I was grieving a lot. Like I was grieving my old self. Like I felt like I had to say goodbye to her
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, let's face it, my life is never going to be what it was before this.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that cancer is always going to be a part of me, but this journey is always going to be here with me and it's never going to go away and it's about just embracing it. And so yeah.
So you have to go through the grieving process, is basically what you're saying.
Yeah, I think you need to just allow yourself to feel what you're feeling and then um, in the moments like feeling
Oh,
like
repeat that, Emily. It broke up again. What was it?
journaling.
Journaling. Okay. I just wanted to make sure people got that. Journaling. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
really
that
get your thoughts out there on the paper. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because I'm sure it is so overwhelming.
it is. It really is. I mean, y- nothing can prepare you for it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you said it was your son that kind of pulled you through, really kept you going. So, I mean, if people are out there listening, they don't have kids, like, what would you suggest? Like, what is, like, find that hope really to, like, help pull you through?
Yeah, I think you definitely need to have something where you can feel grounded and secure and just know that the biggest thing for me was it was like I was so afraid of death. I was so afraid that the cancer was going to take me, and it was something that I had to work on, knowing that I am there's nothing to be afraid of it. Like, there is so much out there in this world that you can do to support your body, and I know that with conventional oncology, it sometimes doesn't feel that way, but to know that there is hope and to know that you have to just find something to ground you to keep you moving in that direction, because I think it can be very hard if you do feel isolated or if you do feel very down and you don't have something to help pull you out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, having that support or having really something that is a moving force, you know?
Yeah. I love that. So, are you open to people reaching out and contacting you if I put your information in the show notes, Emily?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I will put all your information in the show notes and obviously your coaching business too, so people can find that. And I think you do have an Instagram, right, where you share your story along there.
I
Yeah.
do. Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna put that all below so people can have those links to get to you and reach out if they're in a similar situation or want to share some encouraging words with you as well. I really, really appreciate you sharing this story. I know it will help a lot of people for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was really great.
Yeah, it's great to meet you. I'm excited to see you this week.
Yes.
Blonde up that hair.
Yes, I can't wait.
All right, sounds great. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. You too.